My Hero Academia season 8 is actually unreal. It feels like the old days with My Hero Academia when you talk about like 2016, 2017, when season 1 and 2 was airing. It's given that same type of vibe, and honestly, it does feel so special. Within the last year, you probably noticed, if you're a regular on the channel, I haven't posted in a while, been on a bit of a hiatus, just taking time to really reflect. And I haven't really been watching any animes or mangas since JJK and My Hero ended. But there was no way I was going to miss the final season of My Hero Academia, even though I haven't been really tapped into the niche in all that time. And this final season has honestly opened my eyes more than ever as to how much I love this series. I think what's really great about it is that a lot of people, whether they were initial haters of the series, longtime fans, or people who are just new to the series, have all come to this conclusion, for the most part anyway, that My Hero Academia really is that great. I'm not saying it's the greatest shonen or manga or anime to ever grace the earth, no, but when it's strong, like really strong. And a good reflection of that this season was definitely Bakugo's return into the fray. I think that episode was one of the strongest episodes we've ever had in My Hero Academia, full stop. Definitely in my top 5. And the emotion of just watching everything, My Hero really catches you with the emotional aspects of things. And even though we had the episode after when Bakugo went against All For One and totally destroyed him, I still think the episode of his return was just better in my opinion, even though the episode following was obviously more action-packed, etc. Just seeing the way that they orchestrated everything with the new OST at the limit, when Bakugo was like flying down and Deku caught him into the gearshift, Deku not caring about risking potentially losing the battle to save All Might, not only just because that's his mentor and idol, but because that's always been his philosophy of him saving people. That's what gives him strength. So, when he could get the save, he would risk everything to do that. Like, that's literally what guides Deku. Just seeing the way that they elevated that scene from the manga was insane. And focusing more on the popularity of the series and obviously the hype that has accumulated due to the final season, it's been going crazy on Twitter and all social media platforms for the most part. But I think what's happened within the last few days, which has just been the influx of Deku profile pictures, which you've probably seen if you're on Twitter, has really been cool to see. I was really around in the trenches back in the day in the My Hero Academia fandom when, all that crazy shit was happening.
Are you kidding me? You don't want to fuck with them. You don't.
If you know, you know, but it's the main reason why My Hero Academia's fan base, for the most part, especially in the past, got like a massive stain on it, where you have people saying, oh, I'm not going to watch My Hero Academia, it's weird, its fans are weird, etc. Even though they've never given the show an actual chance to watch it itself. And funny enough, most people who watch My Hero Academia end up enjoying it. I know a lot of people dropped it around the time of maybe season 5 for the most part. Around season 3, I think after that, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people started to lose a bit of interest. We had the following arcs of the Overhaul, Shigaraki arc, and then we had the Cultural Festival. The Overhaul arc was pretty decent, obviously not as strong as some of the previous arcs, but definitely following up into Cultural Fest, believe it or not, even though it's called My Hero Academia, there's definitely a subsection of people who do not like the academia part of it. And even me, it's a shonen at the end of the day. More time you want to see all the fancy fighting, and you want to see people getting the power-ups and going crazy, fighting villains, doing all sorts of stuff, the flashy animation. But My Hero Academia's strong suits are definitely in this storytelling, character development, and world building. I think for the most part, people will see My Hero Academia's emotional peaks as stronger than the actual fighting peaks of the shows, unless it's the movies we're talking about. The movies do go crazy. So for the typical anime watcher, they're not really going to always enjoy the parts where My Hero Academia can be focused on more subtle things. Even though it's not so in the show, in the mind of a typical shonen viewer, come on, they just want to see the fights. And even though I went on a bit of a tangent there, I was trying to talk about people kind of like falling off the series a bit. I guess the My Hero Academia arc as well in season 5 kind of hurt people's expectations. But if you stuck with the show, season 6 and onward, absolutely immaculate. I think the show was just like returning to its prior glory in that sense, and most people can agree. We had the Vigilante arc, we had the End of the War arc, the Paranormal Liberation War, which was really good, following into the Vigilante arc, and then season 7 with Star and Stripe, and then obviously entering into the final war. Everything was just great. My Hero Academia has been on an amazing run, but again, to say that season 8, the final season, has been unreal isn't even an understatement. It's just been crazy. And again, outside of the animation and everything that's just like base level in terms of the enjoyment of a show, because let's be real, I don't want to throw any shade at the One Punch Man fans, but you can see that when there's a dip in overall quality animation of the show, it can hurt the viewer's experience, which is just typically natural. And I'm not coming at the people who are animating One Punch Man. I haven't even tapped into the 3rd season, but I'm sure they're trying their best. I'm not sure exactly on the situation going over there, but it just is what it is. It's unfortunate. But this final season's felt very different to me than other final seasons that may have popped up in the last few years. I think all of the stuff that I really love about this series is being put on display here. It really is great to see how much people are enjoying My Hero Academia's final season. And you know, if you're a manga reader, or you know, you just have a bit of know-how or seen a bit of stuff on the internet, you know that this next episode from the preview is called Izuku Midoriya Rising. And My Hero Academia, it's been a while since I've been like super in depth or like, you know, knowledge checked on how much my facts are right with the series. But typically the rising chapters are very strong points of this series, especially for our characters. I think the only people who have rising chapters, if I remember correctly, are Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, because they're the same people who have origin chapters. I might be wrong, I might be getting it wrong, but the rising chapters tend to be like a real culmination of certain people's character plot lines and points in the story. So the fact we're getting Deku's rising, whether you've watched it or not, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be insane. It's going to be really good. I think it's going to be one of the strongest episodes in the season. I really hope Bones goes all out with this episode. This could potentially be one of my favorite episodes in the series in general. And yeah, because we had the Bakugo rising, which if I remember correctly, was when he jumped in the way in season 6 to save Deku's life. You know, big point for him, coming from the cocky bully who didn't want to accept anyone's help or even look at Deku as a person for the most part, to then putting his life in the line to save him the same way Deku saved him in the start of the show. And then obviously we had the Todoroki rising, which I don't believe got an episode title. It was the episode where his family, you know, came to stop Darby last season. And now we're getting Deku's rising. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's been a very long time since I've been back. So yeah, My Hero Academia is definitely making me proud. Let me know what you've been thinking of the final season down below. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well and take care.